Hello, BookTube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth. And if you saw my goals video for 2025, then you heard me talk about my Serious About Series challenge. This is a challenge that I started a few years ago, and several of you jumped on board with me, and I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. It somehow got its name changed to SAS, which I love. SAS stands for Serious About Series. And if you have done a video talking about what is on your SAS list for this year, thank you so much for that. I will try to link as many down below as I can. Tiffany, the Beach Bum Bookworm, has just been a super supportive cheerleader for this challenge, and Storm from Storm Reads has talked about it. Fiona from Reads and Eats, and so many of my other booktube friends have made SAS lists, and I appreciate you guys so much. So now this is going to be my SAS list, or lists, for 2025. I did not specifically do a list for last year. I made a theme and talked about, some of the possibilities, but I was really super busy at the beginning of 2024 trying to finish my family history project, which I got done. But by the time I got that done and did my big road trip in April, we were almost halfway through the year, and I just never got it done. Now, I have kind of a master list of all of the series that I'm working on. Not every single series that I've ever started, but the main ones that I want to continue, or think I want to continue, and there, which is kind of why I started the Serious About Series challenge to begin with, because it's really not possible, I don't think, to work on that many series in 1 year, at least not for me. Even though I read over 300 books a year, there's a lot of other reading challenges and things like that I want to participate in. And so for me, it made sense to narrow down my choices and pick a few series that I thought I could work on and possibly finish in a given year, and series that I knew I wanted to definitely make progress in, and then possibly a series that I wanted to start. Now, I don't have any specific series right now that I'm going to share with you that I'm planning to start, except one that I'm going to be buddy reading this year. So I will share that with you. And for the most part, I'm going to talk about series that I have already started. Some of them I just started this past year, but these are all series that I want to continue, or at least I think I do. And I've made 10 lists of 5 series on each list, because I had announced that this year the theme would be fun with fives. I mean, it's the year 2025, so why not, have some fun with fives and see where that takes me. I have 5 series each on each list. And then I've got a few other random series too that are not in lists of 5, and I'll go through those too. So the first 2 of my 10 lists were series that I'm on book 5 of. I've got one just general list that has a random selection, and then a list of cozy mysteries that I'm on book 5 of. So the series that are just a variety of series, one is the Ali Reynolds series by J.A. Jance. J.A. Jance is one of my most read authors, and yet I've only read 4 of the Ali Reynolds series. So I'm on book 5 of that. I'm excited to get to it. I am also currently reading right now book 5 of the Kavanaugh Justice series by Marie Ferrarella. It just worked out that Sarah, the bookish knitter, started this category romance book club, and her author pick for January was Marie Ferrarella, and I happen to be on book 5 of the Kavanaugh Justice series by her, so it made sense to pick that book up. Then I have a middle grade series that I have not picked up in probably 4 or 5 years, because I have to read the next few in print, and that is the Theodore Boone series by John Grisham. I was able to listen to at least the first 3, and then I may have possibly read book 4 in print, or I may have listened to it on audio. I don't remember now. It's been a while. But now I'm up to book 5, and I'm ready to read it. Then the next series is actually a YA series, and for a long time there were only 4 books. And then a book of short stories came out a few years ago that was labeled 4.5, and I did read that. But now book 5 came out a couple of years ago, and that is The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini. and I need to read book 5 now, which is Murtag or Murtog. I don't know. I can't remember now how it's pronounced, but I've been wanting to read that ever since it came out. I had even kind of put it on my Christmas wish list with my family, but they have not seen fit to pick that up for me yet, but the library has it, so I can read it from the library. And then the 5th book on this list is kind of an elementary series, but it came on my radar in 2024 when I started reading Star Wars books, and it's the Jedi Academy series. The first 3 were written by Jeffrey Brown, and then books 4 on through the end is written by this author right here, and I have no idea how to pronounce it, but I'm on book 5. And by the way, I will probably be showing you the book that I need to read next for each of these series, unless it makes more sense to show you book 1. So I'll try to remember to say what I'm planning to show you up here. Then the 5 Cozy Mystery series that I'm on book 5 of. The first one I've actually already listened to in January, and it's the Crochet Mysteries by Betty Hechtman. I listened to book 5 called You Better Not Die, and this was my Y book for the long-running, for me anyway, ABC challenge that was hosted by the Killer Time with Cozies group back in 2022, and I'm still finishing it. So I've got my Z book left, and I'm going to finish that challenge this year. And then the next 2 series on the list I can get on audio. I didn't even realize I was up to book 5 in the Bookmobile Cat series by Laurie Cass. This is a series that I really enjoy. And then the Hope Street Church series by Ellery Adams. These were originally published under the name Jennifer Stanley, the first 3, and then later on when she changed publishers, she renamed them and updated them a little bit and re-released them, and so now there are more than just the original 3, and the later editions are on audio. I still own the first 3 in print that I kind of want to go back and read just to see how they compare with the audiobook, but I've been listening to the updated versions on audio, and I'm up to book 5. Then I have 2 series that I have to read in print. I believe I did read book 4 of the Fresh Baked series in 2024. This is a series I have really enjoyed, but I don't think any of them are on audio, but I'm up to book 5 now, and I hope I own it. I don't think that my library has any of these, so I need to go back and double check and see if I own it. If I don't have it on my shelves, I'm sure I can find it somewhere. But anyway, I'm up to book 5 of the Fresh Baked Mysteries by Livia J. Washburn. This is a series about retired teachers that all live together in a kind of a boarding house type situation. It is owned by one of the teachers, and she rents out rooms to other retired teachers, and I love the dynamic of it. My parents were both teachers. My sister was a teacher, and I even was a substitute teacher for a while. So all my family have been educators at some point, and I love this series. And then the 5th one have started showing up on audio, but it's the later ones in the series. I've still got to read the first several in print. I have read the first 4 in print, and I'm up to book 5 of the Tea Shop Mysteries by Laura Childs. This is a series that I have really enjoyed, but I just keep putting it off because I have to read it in print. But I am excited that some of the later ones have shown up on audio, and perhaps as time goes on, more and more of them will get put on audio. But for now, I want to at least read the next book, book 5 in that series. So the next list are all series that I have caught up with at one point, and a new book has been added, and I need to read it to stay caught up. Now, there are probably more than 5 series that would fall into this category, but these are the 5 that I definitely want to read, and if I discover that there are others that I can get to and have time to read during the year, I will do that, but these are the 5 I want to focus on. I'm not sure if I can get all of them on audio. A couple of them I probably may have to read in print, but we shall see. One of them is The Coffee House Mysteries by Cleo Coyle, and I'll show you a picture of the most recent one that I need to read. I was excited that Jennifer Cheverini released another book in the Elm Creek Quilts series. I'm not sure what number this is now, 22 maybe, 23, I'm not sure. I'll put it here. But yeah, there's another book, and I'm super excited about it. And then I was kind of surprised that there is a new Hannah Swenson baking mystery coming out. Those are by Joanne Fluke, and even though some of the things that have happened in the series have not been things that I've been a big fan of, this was the first Cozy Mystery series, as I recall, that I ever read. And because I'm a finisher, I'm going to stick with it till the end. And this is the next one, the most recent one, and I think it's coming out later this year. And then just yesterday, I realized that there is another Enola Holmes book by Nancy Springer that I have not read. I believe this is book 9. There was an original series of 6, and then when they made the Netflix show, she started writing more, and I had read 2 of those, and so now there's one more, and I'll show you a picture of the one that I haven't read yet. And then the one I am thrilled, over the moon about. I did not expect that she would write any more books in this series or at all, is a new book in the Mitford series by Jan Karon. This is hands down my favorite fiction series of all time. If you have never read a Mitford book, what are you waiting for? I absolutely love this series. I love the characters. I love everything about it. There's not one thing in these books that I don't like. I just love them. Now, the only complaint I've ever heard is that I had a friend from church a long time ago, and she was an older woman, but she said that At Home in Mitford was just too slow. I get that, but they are just the epitome of comfort reads. The characters are just delightful. The town itself is a character. If that was a real place, I would want to move there. So there is going to be another Mitford book coming out, and I am over the moon about it. Okay, the next list I'm also over the moon about, because these are series that I absolutely love, and I have a hard time getting to them because I have to read them in print. And these are 5 comfort series that I want to work on in 2025. Even if I just read one book in all 5 of these series, that will make me happy. Now, I believe in 2024, I did read at least one book in 3 of these series. One of these series I didn't even know about until last year. And the others I've been working on for some time, but because I have to read all of them in print, I can't just zip through them, and I don't want to zip through them. I want to read and savor every word from every one of these books. Now, one of them is a cozy mystery series, but it's a faith-based cozy mystery series published by Guidepost, and it's the Patchwork Mysteries by various authors. And I believe I did read 2 of those early in 2024, but because I just forget about them and things get in the way, I just don't tend to pick them up, but I want to. And then another Guidepost series that I've read several of, it's not a mystery series, it's a family drama series. I don't think I read any of these in 2024, and that's the Home to Heather Creek series. It is a delightful series about a farm family who were estranged from their adult daughter. She had 3 children and then was killed, and so the 3 children have come to the farm to live with the grandparents, and their adult uncle also lives on the property, and it is just a wonderful series full of all of the drama, the happiness, the heartwarming, the heartbreak things that you can imagine that would come into play in that family's life. And I love the series, and I want to pick it back up. I own all of them, I think, except maybe the last 3. And the same with the Patchwork Mysteries. I own all of those. Another series that I tend to forget to pick up is the Cape Light series by Thomas Kincaid. I own most of the books in all of these series, and I usually keep the next one on my book cart, but they get overlooked because of other challenges that, that push them out of the way. So I definitely want to make at least one book from each of these series a priority. Then the next series is by Miss Reed. It's the Thrush Green series. Now, I kind of put the Thrush Green series on hold so that I could finish the Fair Acre series a couple of years ago, and I did finish that, but I don't think I read a single book by Miss Reed in 2024. And now that I'm done with Fair Acre, I'm ready to pick back up with Thrush Green, and I might start over. I don't know. I own the whole series, and I might start back at the beginning. We shall see. And then the last series on the list, you have heard me talk about already for most of 2024, because I just discovered this author, Gladys Tabor, through Sonia, my friend Sonia from Sonia with an I. She discovered her in 2024 as well, and thankfully she shared on a Killing Time with Cozy's live stream that she was reading Gladys Tabor, and immediately I knew that this was going to be an author for me. I ordered a short stack of Gladys Taber books from eBay, and I have been reading through them. I read a total of 6 in 2024. I have 3 Still Meadow books left to read, and for sure I will read the last 2. My library has those. And then if in the meantime I can find a copy of book 1, which I had to skip, I'll circle back around and read book 1. But there's plenty of other standalones by Gladys Taber, but the Still Meadow series I definitely want to read. All of these books have to be read in print. I don't think there's any that have ever been put on audio. There's only one of her books on ebook, and they're all totally out of print and a little hard to find, but if you keep your eyes out, you can find them. And I'm thrilled to continue reading Gladys Taber this year, and I hope that many of you will as well. Find yourself a Gladys Taber book and get it and read it, because we're going to have a little Gladys Taber reading event in April to celebrate her birthday. Speaking of series that I own that I have to read in print, I've also got a list of 5 cozy mystery series that I own just about all of. They have to be read in print, so they tend to get pushed to the side unless I've got some other challenge that makes me pick them up. That's part of the reason it took me so long to read the ABC challenge, because I put a few books on that list purposefully to make me read those. And because I was reading them in ABC order, I had to read the print ones before I could move on to a few that I could read on audio. So that whole challenge helped me to get several cozy mysteries read in print over the last few years. But here are 5 series that I own almost all of that tend to get pushed to the wayside because I have to read them in print. The only one of these series that I even read one of last year was the Aunt Dimity series by Nancy Atherton. And I love this series. This is such a fun series. I call it Paranormal Light. There is one slight paranormal aspect to it, and that is in the title character. Aunt Dimity is a ghost, but she doesn't manifest herself in what you would consider a traditional ghostly way. She writes in a journal, and that is how she communicates with her niece Lori, who is actually the main character of the series. It's a great series. I absolutely love it, and I definitely want to read at least one more in 2025. Now, the next series I've only read one of, and yet I believe that this is my favorite cozy mystery series of all time. I'm basing that on one book. Now, when I read this book, we read it for my mystery book club back in 2020 during COVID, when we were having to meet outside in a gazebo in the park. And everybody who was brave enough to get outside and meet with the book club and read that book really enjoyed it. And at the time, I had collected a few more in the series, and I loaned them out to some of the other book club members who read a lot faster than I do. And I heard only good things about the other books in the series. Oh, and I guess I should tell you the name of the series. It's the White House Chef Mysteries by Julie Heisey. This is book 1, State of the Onion. This is the only book I have read in this series so far. But the thing I liked about it, and the thing I confirmed with the other people who read more of the series, is that it's not political at all. Now you think, how can you have a book about the White House and it not be political? I don't know, but somehow the author wrote it so as not to alienate anyone on either side of the political fence. It is totally nonpartisan. You never know throughout the entire series what political party that the president is a part of. And I love that. It's a cozy mystery, so there's really no reason to get political about it, and I think that's fantastic. So I definitely want to read the next book in this series. Now, my friend Tiffany, the Beach Bum Bookworm, has put this series on her list of 25 cozy mystery series to start in 2025, and I may just decide to reread book 1 with her, or I may just go ahead and jump into book 2. I remember, everything I need to remember about book 1. I loved it. So anyway, I'm super excited to get to the next book in this series. Now, the last 3 series on this list are all series that I was able to start on audio, but I have to finish in print. And so that is why I have taken so long to get to these. And I want to pick up the next book in each of these series this year. One of them is the Mr. Monk series by Lee Goldberg. Now, the last few of this series are by High Conrad, but most of them are from Lee Goldberg, and I own all of the Lee Goldberg books, and I think I'm only missing one or two of the High Conrad books. I have these books. I need to read them. And the next one is The Amish Mysteries by Laura Bradford. I was able to listen to the first three on audio, and I nearly know that there were more of these books that used to be available on audio on Hoopla, and they disappeared. I could be wrong, but anyway, I've only listened to the first three. I need to read the next one in print, and here is the next one that I'm up to. Then the last series on the list is the Thoroughly Southern Mysteries by Patricia Sprinkle. Now, the first two of these books are available on audio. I think I listened to them on Scribd back when it was Scribd. Now it's Everant. And they were originally published by a Christian publisher. Then she switched publishers and renamed the series Thoroughly Southern. The original name of the series was the McLaren Yarborough series. And it's a total of 10 books in the series. I did listen to the first two on audio, but the rest of the series that were published by a mainstream publisher never got put on audio, at least I don't think. So, I mean, they may be on Audible or something, but anyway, they're not available to me for free, and I own them all, so I need to just read them already. I really enjoyed the first two. They were so cute, and I'm ready to read book 3, and I'll put a picture of it right here. Okay, so I've got two lists that have series on them that I believe I can finish or catch up with in 2025. The first list contains 5 middle grade or YA series that I think I can finish, and the second list contain adult series that I think I can finish. So on the middle grade or YA list, I want to finish the Christy Miller series by Robin Jones Gunn. I really just have one left, book 12, to finish in that series, and then I've got another companion book that I want to also read, and then I can take those books to our church library. Another one is the very last trilogy in a middle grade project that I started several years ago. The original project was to read 12 middle grade or YA trilogies that I had started by reading book 1 and still needed to read books 2 and 3. I finished probably 8 of those series that first year, and then I have gradually been working to finish all the others. I have one of those trilogies left. It is the Neptune Project trilogy by Polly Holyoke. I read the first one when it was a Sunshine State book several years ago, and I still need to read books 2 and 3. I own book 2, and the last time I checked, my library had book 3, but only one copy in the whole county. So I really need to get to this while they still have a copy, because, you know, things get weeded out over time, and there's no guarantee that that book will stay where it is. So I definitely want to get to that trilogy. Another series that I really enjoy is the 39 Clues series. Now, there are multiple series within the 39 Clues franchise, and I have read several of those, but I started the 39 Clues Files series a while back, and those are all written by Clifford Riley. Many of the 39 Clues series are written by multiple authors, but this particular series is written by Clifford Riley. The first one is on Hoopla, and I've listened to it on audio a couple of times and I really enjoyed it. I own a book that has a bind up of books 2 through 4. And I just checked, and my library through Hoopla has book 5 on ebook. So I can finish the series, and I want to. Then another series that I thought I was finished with, but then a book of short stories came out as kind of companion stories to it, and that is The Ark of the Scythe by Neil Shusterman. The book I need to read is called Gleanings. I own all 3 of the main books in my Audible library, and Audible keeps recommending that I purchase Gleanings, but I don't have an Audible subscription anymore, like for the, you know, 1 credit a month or anything. I just have the Audible Plus package, and I may eventually buy it, but the library has it, so I may as well just read it in print and see if it's something that I want to read again, you know, see if I really do need to own it or not. Then the last one on this list is the One and Only series. Now, a 4th book was added to this series. It's by Catherine Applegate, and she added a 4th book to this series last year. Now, I reread The One and Only Ivan in 2024, and then went on to listen to the audio version of The One and Only Bob. It was narrated by Danny DeVito, and it was great. But I still need to read The One and Only Ruby and One and Only Family. So I definitely want to finish that series in 2025. 2025. Then for my adult series, I've got a trilogy that is an Amish-themed trilogy that I started in 2024 and want to finish this year. It's the Cappy King Cozy Mystery series by Amy Lillard. And then another trilogy I started on audio that I think the other two are on Audible Plus, and this is the Before They Were Left Behind trilogy by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins. I finished the Left Behind books a few years ago, and I listened to the first one of this trilogy. It's a prequel trilogy to the Left Behind series, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, so I would like to go ahead and listen to the next two in that series. And then I binge read or binge listened to the Twilight Texas series last January, and I owned most of the books in print up until the very last book, and it was not available on audio at the time I was listening to those, and so I just left it unread. Then I went ahead and lotted up all of the books I owned, and I've already sold them on eBay, and I noticed that now the most recent book is available on audio, so why not go ahead and listen to it? And then I also was reminded that there's one more novella in that series that I had not read, and I looked it up, and the ebook is available on Hoopla, so I actually have that checked out right now. So that novella and that book will finish off that series for me. It'll at least catch me up. I don't know if she's still going to add more to the series, but it'll at least catch me up. And then the next series on the list is the True Blue Canine Romantic Suspense series that is under the Love Inspired line, published by Harlequin. This is a lightly faith-based series. It is one of several canine series. This one is set in New York, and I read the book 5 novella on my Kindle last year, and the rest, I believe, are all on audio, except for the very last set of novellas, which are in a bind-up with a Christmas theme, and I will read those in print, but I own all of those in physical form, so I will probably listen to the ones I can and then read the Christmas one perhaps in December or maybe sooner. I don't know. But even though I've only read just the 1.5 novella, that is a series that I can binge because I just enjoy all of those canine series so much, and when I can get them on audio, I can just eat them like candy. They're so good. And then the last series is actually one that I have read a few of in the past, but it was before I knew it was a series, and I kind of read them out of order, and that is the Skink series by Carl Hiaasen. Last year, I went back and reread book 1 and read book 2 and 3 all on audio, and now I think book 4 is one that I've read before just based on the description, but I am, and honestly, I can't remember which ones I for sure read way back in the day before Goodreads or anything, because I don't have any of it written down. So I'm just rereading them all in order. I'm listening to them on audio. Between Audible Plus and Hoopla, I can get all of them, I believe. And one of them is even a middle grade book. So it's a fun series. There is a lot of foul language, though, in Carl Hiaasen's adult books. And how he got around that by writing a middle grade book with the skink character is that he would just have the narrator, who was a young boy, say, and Skink said some things that I can't repeat, you know, that kind of thing, and still maintain the character of Skink. But you know, even though there's some foul language, there's still very entertaining stories. And Carl Hiaasen is a Florida author that I do enjoy. He's got several middle grade books as well as adult books, and they all have something to do with the environment. He is very much an environmentalist, and so his characters have no patience for people who litter or do anything that would adversely affect the environment. Then I have 2 lists of series that I have not touched in 5 years. I have not visited any of these series since 2020 or earlier. The first list are all YA and middle grade series that I have not read from since 2020 or earlier. And then the second list are all mystery series that I have not visited in 5 years or more. So of the middle grade and YA series, the first one I have on the list is The Tillerman Cycle by Cynthia Voigt. I read the first 2 because book 2 is a Newbery winner. I very much enjoyed both of these. I may need to reread book 3 because I have read the first 2 more than once and I love them. I own all of the series and I could only get book 3 on audio. If it's still available to me on audio, I may listen to that again before I tackle the next book in print. But it's a great series, at least what I've read so far. Now, the next series on the list is one I have read the first 3 of, and I think I read these before BookTube. It's possible that I was still reading these, or these were fresh on my mind when I started BookTube, but I started Goodreads about the same time, and I don't think I have it marked on Goodreads when I read these. But it's the Ender Saga by Orson Scott Card. Now, I loved Ender's Game, and I did enjoy Speaker for the Dead and Xenocide. They're tough books to read. There's a lot packed in them. And I want to say that I tried reading one on audio and I just wasn't getting it. And I had to go back and just read it in print in order to, to get it. But I am interested in continuing on. There's also at least 1 or 2 spinoff series of the Ender Saga, and I'm interested in reading all of those. I think Ender's Game is a fantastic book. The movie was pretty good, but the book is very much in Ender's head, and it's hard to put that out in a movie, but I think they did a decent job of it. But I would definitely like to revisit that series. The next one is The Land of Stories by Chris Colfer. It's a whole, I think it's a 6-book series. I own all of them. The first one I was able to find on audio several years ago, and that's as far as I got because I couldn't find any more of them on audio. And it was a great book. I really enjoyed it. So I need to read book 2 of that series. And then the last 2 are books that my daughter read in middle school. My daughter Katie, who is now 21, and we still have her books that she read in middle school. She has been trying to encourage me to let go of them, but I still want to read them. So the first series is the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. We don't have that whole series, but we do have probably at least the first 10 or 12. And I forget what book I'm on. I'll put it here. I would like to at least read what we own, and then we can put those on eBay. And then the last series is the Warrior series by Aaron Hunter. Now, I've been encouraging Katie to keep those. Keep at least one book series from your childhood, because what if she has kids someday and she wants to tell them about her favorite book series, as a kid or whatever, just like I have saved my Little House books that I have from my childhood. So, she's trying not to be a hoarder like me, and I get that, but I for sure want to read them. A lot of them are on audio, but while we have them, they're in a box in her closet, I definitely want to read more of them. I've only read the first full 6-book series, but there are multiple spin-off series. So I want to start with the second series and read them in publication order. And I don't remember what the first book of the second series is, but I'll put it right here. Then the mystery series that I haven't visited in 5 years. A couple of them are cozy mysteries and a couple of them aren't. And one's kind of in between. Of the cozy series that I want to pick back up with, the first one is the County Cork series by Sheila Connolly. I believe most of these are available on audio, so I really have no excuse for not having picked these up in 5 years, but this is the next one I need to read. It's book 3. And then the next series I do have to read in print, but I own all of them, and I've only ever read the first one. This, I think, is the first cozy mystery series that I started collecting. It's the Scrapbook Mysteries by Laura Child, and I remember specifically when I found this first book, I was doing book sales at our public library. I had volunteered to be in charge of the book sales for our newly formed Friends of the Library. It's been over 10 years ago now. And as we were sorting books that had come in through donations, I remember seeing this book and seeing, oh my goodness, this is about scrapbooking. I scrapbook. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to buy this book. And that started my collecting of books. The other book series I started collecting around that time was when some of these Mitford books started coming through in our donations, and I had read them on audio and I needed to own them, so I started bringing those home. That started this entire whirlwind of book collecting that has now turned into a hobby of its own. But anyway, I have not read any past the first Scrapbooking Mystery. I remember it. It takes place in New Orleans. The main character is a scrapbook shop owner, and the first book is set during Mardi Gras, and they find a dead body on one of the Mardi Gras floats. I can pick right back up with book 2 and I'll be fine, but I just need to do it. The next series, some might consider cozy and some not. It is the Maisie Dobbs series by Jacqueline Winspear. I've only read the first one. I listened to it on audio. I think more of these are available on audio, so I'd like to go ahead and try that again. It's a historical mystery series. It's set around World War One, or I think between World War One and World War Two, and I found the first one to be very enjoyable. So I don't know why I haven't picked that up. And then the next one is not cozy at all. I've only read the first one, but I've read it twice. It is epically compelling. It is the Inspector Lynley series by Elizabeth George. The first book is gruesome and horrific and so compelling. And I think I've been nervous to pick up the next one, but last year I found most of the first 10 at a library sale, and I had to pick them up. So I am ready to read those. I'm ready to move on to book 2. And then the last series I put on the list because I've read book 10 of this series, and I found it very, very good. We read it for our mystery book club a couple of years ago, and it's the Mike Bowditch series by Paul Dworin. The one I read is book 10. I can't even remember the title of it now, but the first book is called The Poacher's Son. And Mike Bowditch is a game warden in Maine, I believe, and his father was a poacher. So you get the conflict in the dynamic here. So I'm really interested in going back and reading more of these books. I don't know if I can find them on audio or not. I was just kind of combing through my Goodreads trying to figure out, what I was going to put on these lists. And I saw that one and I was like, yeah, I want to read the first one of that series. Then I have a series of 5 books that I am a little anxious about reading the next one for a variety of reasons. And you might think, well, why do you want to read them? Well, I just want to give it a try. And let me go through the list and then y'all can tell me if you think I should or shouldn't. Whether I take your advice or not, I don't know, but I'll at least listen to it. And the first one I have on here is The Trials of Apollo by Rick Riordan. I've only got one book left. I have listened to the first 4 on audio, but honestly, by about book 3, I had completely lost interest in the series. And I haven't read the 5th one because the audio used to be on my Libby and it disappeared. And now I do own a physical copy of it, but I'm just not interested, and I don't want to put the time in to read it in print. I really picked up the physical copy because I've been collecting these for Katie, all the Rick Riordan books, and she has read and reread many of them. She has not read the Apollo series yet, but we have all of them, I think, but book 4, but I've listened to that one on audio. Anyway, if I ever run across book 4, I'll get it just to complete our set. But I personally have just lost interest in it. So I don't know that I want to put in the time, but I only have one left. If I read that one, I could finish that series. There's a new Percy Jackson series that is out now, and I'd like to read that, but I don't know if that is a prequel in the timeline to the Apollo books or if it comes after. I'm not sure. So let me know. If you've read all those, let me know. The next one is the Wicked series. Y'all know I just read and listened to the first book, Wicked, in January already, and it was a little appalling. I'm not sure I want to read the next one. I think I own the whole series. I know I have book 2 and I have book 4. I don't know if I have book 3 or not. They're all available on audio. I kind of want to get them out of my house. I just don't know if I want to read the second one or not. Part of me wants to give it a try, but I feel like I'm just going to feel dirty to listen to it. Honestly, that's just kind of how I feel about it. So I don't know. I'm conflicted. Then the next one is the Kate Burkholder series by Linda Castillo. Now, Sarah has been reading one of these books every year for Amish in April since we started Amish in April. They are very gritty. They are Amish-themed books, but they are very gritty murder mysteries. I have read the first one, so I am well aware of what I would be getting myself into. But I was encouraged by my friend Paola from the channel Reading in Darkness because because she read the first one last year for Amish in April, and she also said, that she's like, wow, that was really heavy, that was tough and gritty. I don't know if those are her words exactly, but something to that effect. But she went ahead and tried the next one, and she has just gotten hooked on the series and has been enjoying it a lot. So I'm encouraged by that. I don't know if there's foul language in it or not, but I know that they just feature some very gruesome scenes, and I'm just a little nervous about starting the next one. I'm pretty sure I can get them on audio. The next one is the Soap Opera Mysteries by Eileen Davidson. I spent several months with book 2 on my currently reading list, either last year or year before. I can't remember now. Because there's a lot of foul language in it. It is technically, I guess, a cozy mystery. It's got an amateur sleuth and everything. It's just not super cozy, and there's just a lot of F-bombs and everything, and I think I just don't expect that in my cozies. So I own the third one. There is a fourth one now. I thought there was only 3, but there is a fourth one. I own the third one, and I'm just kind of nervous to pick it up because it took me so long to work my way through the second book. I think, if I go into it remembering that, there's probably going to be some language in it that I'm not a fan of. As I recall, the mystery was pretty good, but I just had a hard time getting through it, and I started it, and then I just had a hard time picking it back up. So, I don't know. I'm a little anxious about starting that one. And then the last one on this list is the Longmire series by Craig Johnson. Now, my husband and I have watched the entire Longmire TV series, and we loved it. But I tried reading or listening to the first 2 books in the Longmire series, and they just did not live up to the TV show. So I have not read any more or listened to any more because I just did not enjoy them nearly as much as I enjoyed the show. So I've been just hesitant to pick up the next one. So anyway, it remains to be seen whether or not I will pick these up, but these are 5 series that I'm considering continuing on with, and let me know what you think about any of these 5 series. Then I've got a couple of other short lists. I have one 5-book series that has been on my list of series to read ever since before I started Serious About Series, and it is the Heavenly Days series by Lori Copeland and Angela Hunt. This is a faith-based series. I own all 5 of them. I know they're good. My sister has read them all and loved them. She said she'd be even willing to read them again with me, but because I can't get them on audio, I have just put off and put off and put off reading them. This is going to be the year I will read those books. And then I've got 2 series that I'm going to buddy read, or at least get started on with a buddy read. Fiona from Reads and Eats and I read book 1 of the Harmony Harbor series by Debbie Mason in December. And then in January, we read book 1.5. It was just a little short, 50-page book. I listened to it on audio. I think it was an hour and 12 minutes before you even speed it up. And that was really good. So we are starting with book 2 in February and continuing on and doing 1 book a month for as long as it takes to finish the series. And some of them I will have to read in print, and some of them I can get on audio. So I'm looking forward to reading the whole series with Fiona. And then I am reading book 1 in the Restoration series by Terry Blackstock in February with Mr. Francy from Mr. Francy Reads. He is from Australia, and I forgot to mention Fiona is from Scotland, so my buddy reads are going international this year. But Mr. Francy and I are going to read the first book, which I believe is called Last Light. And it's a 4-book series. I'm not sure if he wants to read the whole series or not, but he asked me if I would like to read a Christian fiction book with him. And I said yes, and I know just the one because I have been wanting to read this series for several months. Some ladies from our church read it last year and loved it. My sister read it last year and loved it. She sent me all 4 books for my birthday, and I am ready to read them. So we are for sure going to buddy read the first one, and if he wants to go ahead and buddy read the rest of the series with me, I am totally on board for that. And I'm excited about both of my buddy reads for this year. And I may buddy read other books later in the year, but for now, these are the 2 that I have planned. I am also planning to do a read-along with the Killing Time with Cozies group. We are starting starting the Emergency Dessert Squad series by Laura Bradford. I'm not sure when that starts, but I'm on board for that. I believe I can get all of those on audio. I think it's just a 3-book series, and I've heard really good things about it. And then I would possibly like to start a little read-along with a Laura Ingalls Wilder related series. I've got a couple of different series I'm going back and forth on. I'm going to get with my co-host for the Little House Readathon and see. I have a feeling I know which one she will pick. But if we do that, we'll announce it during the Little House Readathon, which announcements for that will be coming very soon, if not already. Before I get this up, there may have already been an announcement about it. But anyway, I'm still toying around with this idea. It may not happen until later in the year or next year, but it's just something that I would like to do. And then head and shoulders above the rest, I have a list of one here. The one series I am most excited to continue this year is the Jack Reacher series by Lee Child. I read a lot of Reacher books last year, and I want to continue at a pace of one a month. I still may not get through all of them in 2025, and I don't necessarily want to rush through them, but I really enjoy the pace of one a month. I have been able to get most of them on audio, and I have really been enjoying them. So the Jack Reacher series is definitely a series that I will read throughout the year. Now, I have a base list of series that I'm working on. All of these series came from that list. There are a lot more series that I have started and could possibly finish or work on this year. But these are the ones that I definitely want to focus on, because sometimes when I'm planning my TBR for the month, it just helps to have kind of narrowed down what my goals are, because sometimes it's hard for me to segue from one project into another. And if I don't have a plan for reading, I'm not a mood reader. Every once in a while, I will read something that I'm in the mood for. But for the most part, I'm not a mood reader. I sort of struggle with what to read next unless I have a plan. And so because I typically plan my TBR, plan my challenges, then I don't have any trouble picking my next book, because I already have a list of goals that I'm working towards. And that's just kind of how I operate. But if you're a mood reader and you don't like to make lists or anything, and you just read, what you feel like reading, power to you, for sure. There are all kinds of readers in the world, and we all, function how we do best. Sometimes people make a Serious About Series list, and then they just pick one that they're in the mood for. Certainly a great idea. Anyway, if you are participating in Serious About Series this year, let me know in the comments. If you have read or want to read any of the series I talked about in this video, please let me know. And for now, though, that is all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.